Do I look okay?
You do. Hello. Welcome to the channel, everybody. If you've not been here before, you're missing out. My name's Elizabeth, and this is Hillbilly Crime. We've got Sweet Tater with us tonight. Sweet Tater is my mommy. And if you was with us on Surviving the Survivor, we had a really cool invite. So Joel has asked for me and Sweet Tater to come on to his show with him and his mom, who is somewhat of I think she's a psychiatrist or something. She's a mental health professional, and she's about your age, so it's going to be fun.
Maybe I can give her a little chat and she can psychoanalyze me and give me some tips on how to feel better.
There you go. There you go. Welcome in. We've got a ton of people here already. Yes, Joel was going on about how he was on his third one. We're on our third one now. We streamed the Boswell trial. We've been streaming it since last week. Today was day 6. But this is part 2 of the Mickey Stines deposition. So last night we had we went through the beginning of it. We've gotten through about halfway through, a little over halfway through. So we're gonna pick up here, Mom. I'm just gonna read. And
do you have any comments yet?
Yeah.
Sometimes I can see them over here to the side. I don't know how I make it do that.
It says, "Hi, y'all. Cindy from sunny South Florida. She's here. Miss Jessica's been with us all day. Elizabeth is on a roll tonight. Love her so big. Oh, I love you all, every one of you. Thank you. Miss Cindy to you. Elizabeth, you did awesome on STS. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dave Clifton. Hey, everybody. Yes, please hit that like button on your way in. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to our channel and hit that little notification bell so it will always let you know, or at least we hope it's supposed to let you know, every time we go live. We usually go live every evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So you can always catch us then. And then we stream. The Boswell trial is our first trial that we've streamed all the way through. But that was one of my goals. I wanted to start doing trial watch too. So now we've gotten more than just the 7 o'clock show at night. If you want to catch us during the day, we will usually have a trial on if there's one interesting that we want to watch. Okay. Scorpio Girl 53. Hello again from Dallas. Didn't know she was still going live. Glad I didn't miss it. Yeah, we had to push our normal show back some because we went on with Joel tonight. And we're going to be on Gavin Fish on Thursday night at 7:30. Now, Gavin doesn't do simulcast, so it won't stream on my channel. But after it's over, I'll put it in a playlist. I've got a playlist for guest appearances and mentions. So you can find the Gavin Fish show in that playlist. Okay. Let's see. Jim Jet 66. Hi, everybody. Yes. Let's see. Extreme Blonde. Hi, honey. She says, so happy to see so many HBC people on STS tonight. Yes. As Mama Duck says, I'm the HBIC, baby. Not the head B in charge. We're the hillbilly in charge. I love that play on that. Let's get fired up. Let's get fired up. I got awful fired up last night reading this deposition, y'all.
I'll read for you when you want me to. I'm a good reader.
Okay, thanks, Mommy. So one of the biggest things, Mom wasn't here with us last night. So
I'll
cinnamon hot,
catch up quick.
cinnamon hot says hi, Elizabeth, sweet tater mods and chatters. We have a great chat, y'all. If you are not getting in the live chat, you are missing out. We have a great time. Most of the time, some of them can't even pay attention to the show because we're so distracted by by the chat. Or at least on the trials we do. But so, okay, let me just do a little rundown. So, what were the key points from last night? The first part of the deposition. Well, I'm just going to tell you the biggest part that stuck out to me was whoever this state agency is who gave Ben Fields his polygraph to be hired on at the sheriff's department. So, from what I gathered out of what we read, as long as you admit to your crimes or your misconduct, then and you don't lie about it, then you pass your polygraph and you get a recommendation of suitable for hire. He admitted, Mom, to drinking alcohol on the job while he was working at the jail. He also admitted to having sexual contact while on the job working at the jail. And so in the deposition, it comes off that Mickey didn't know about this until he listened to an interview or Ben's deposition or something that Ben had given. And he had heard it with his lawyer preparing for this deposition. I don't know if I believe that. I mean, he is under oath, but I don't know. So he says he didn't know about it. So when the lawyer asks him, he says, well, I didn't read the report. I didn't read the questions and the answers. I just went by the cover letter. And the cover letter said suitable for hire. He also said that he had seen other people's polygraphs that came back and that said they were not suitable for hire. When the lawyer asked him, and apparently Mickey is the one who recommended Ben Fields for his job at the sheriff's department, which he said he didn't hire him. He said that Sheriff Danny Webb hired him. But apparently Mickey put in the recommendation. Is that right? No, is that right? Were they talking about Ben on that? It was, wasn't it? Said that he gave Webb the recommendation and he hired him right as Ben was going, or right as Webb was going out of office. Okay. Yeah, it's very confusing. It's very you just got a lot to kind of go through here. I want to know who was the person responsible for doing that polygraph, and I'd like to know is that like a known thing? Is that a known loophole that applicants are getting over on? As long as you admit to your wrongdoings, you're suitable for hire? Well, I don't think that's a very good procedure or policy myself. Yep, Christy A. Painter's daughter. Yep, just don't lie. Okay. So I just don't know.
Yeah, that's an odd thing.
Christy says, he probably did just read the cover letter so many times. That's all people do. Yeah. But I liked one of the things that they said on STS. A lot of this is showing negligence on Mickey's part. he didn't do his due diligence on, looking into these people's Ben's background. Well, see, I just don't get that. I don't buy that, because Mickey was a bailiff in that courthouse for over 10 years before he became sheriff. He knew Ben. He knew Ben Fields from the jail. He worked with Ben very, very closely. Mickey knew what was going on in that courthouse. There's just no way that he didn't. Now, I don't know if he participated or not, but he sure knew. He sure knew what was going on around him. Now, does that put Mickey in a bad place? Of course it does. Of course it does. But do you get along? You go along to get along? Is the cost more than you want to pay to be part of that circle? I think it is, y'all. I think it is. I think, there's nothing wrong with having ambition. There's nothing wrong. Honey, I fell all over myself trying to get in down there. I wanted to work down there and be taken seriously so bad. I was almost foolish about it, and I just kept going and I kept going and I kept going. I can honestly say one of my best qualities is persistence.
Let's carry on forward.
Okay, Mom's tired
of bed here.
Okay, so let's start. We're going to start on page 116 at the top. All right, Mr. Shaw. So this is, let me just remind you the players. Mr. Shaw is Mickey's attorney that is representing him in his official capacity as sheriff. And then I think my understanding of this is that Daniel Dotson is representing Mickey as an individual capacity. So, okay, Mr. Shaw's his lawyer. We can keep going if you all want to. Answer. This is when it has this little A here, the answer is Mickey. The Q, the question
is Mr. Shaw.
No, the question is the female attorney who is asking the questions. So she would be Sabrina Adkins, attorney.
Okay.
Okay.
I see. I got you now.
All right. So Mickey says, I'm ready. Question. One quick thing. I saw this in what you produced. Looks like a smexual assault investigation policy that got enacted in October of 2023. I don't want to make it as an exhibit. I am just curious if you recall that and what prompted you to enact that new policy in 2023. Answer. We model our policies by KACO. She says, by KACO? He says, yes. Speaking of KACO, are you being represented under a reservation of rights to your knowledge? Mickey says, can you explain that a little bit more? Question. I don't know if I can, but have you been given any information by KACO about the limits or conditions of the representation of you in this case? He says, I can't recall. Question. Let's look at some of these Facebook exhibits that you have had a chance to look over. Mickey says, mine is all mixed up. Question. Yeah, I have them in kind of specific order, but I will try to identify them well for you. And I can give you a new copy, really. Mickey says, are you going to give me a new copy? She says, yes, I have more copies. Mr. Shaw, his lawyer, then says, I have a copy and we can make copies out there, so we don't have to worry about it. She says, since so many people are not here in person, I have got some extra. I think this will be good to keep them in order. So this will be Exhibit 10. Mr. Shaw says, and you do or do not have an extra copy of that one? She says, I do. Question. Do you recognize this communication chain? Mickey says, yes. Question. Is this a Facebook communication chain between yourself, Ben Fields, and Jason Eccles? He says, yes. Is this a Facebook communication chain from June 14th, 2021 through June 15th, 2021? He says, I don't know if I see the 15th. I see the 14th. She says, I think if you keep going. And then Mr. Daniel Dotson says, are you talking about the one on top, the 23rd? Answer, this is Mickey. Are you talking about the messages? She says, yeah, I'm trying to get the full time frame that we are talking about. Mickey says, yeah, that is what it looks like. She says, okay. Did you use Facebook Messenger to communicate with deputy sheriffs about work-related matters? Some, yes. Question. I think this was a group that was specific to yourself, Ben Fields, and Jason Eccles, correct? He says, yes. She says, were there other chains that included other sheriff department employees? This one is just yourself, Fields, and Eccles. Based on our recollection, were there other messenger groups that included more of the office generally? He says, you had one that you give me that had Christine in it. Question. So does that refresh your recollection? He says, yes. Question. I think that you entitled this group Fat Boys. Do you see that at the top? He says, yes, ma'am. Okay. Why did you call it that? Mickey says, look at me. Question. Was there another group called Office, if you can recall? He says, I can't recall. I have got to use the bathroom. Question. Sure, we can take a break. So they took a break. And then they're back and she says, question. Do you see towards the bottom of the first page? I'm going to use the markings at the top for reference. So this is page 1187. Jason says, I misread it at first and thought it said Mickey's Boys. Do you see that? Mr. Daniel Dotson chimes in and says, third paragraph from the bottom. Mickey says, yes. Question. Great. Did you consider Eccles and Fields your boys or Mickey's boys? Answer. No, they are my employees. Question. Okay. Did you have any sort of special relationship with them that was more close than other deputies? Answer. No, they are all my friends. They are all my work family, you know. We have cookouts together as an office. We try. This is very childish, but it is a way for us to make fun of each other and just release some stress. You know, when I consulted with my attorney after I seen the exhibits in Mr. Fields's case, and I have eliminated all of that. And I have talked to everybody verbally and did a verbal reprimand, and it will never happen again. Question. So you have done that since this past weekend when we took Mr. Fields' deposition? Answer. Yeah. Question. In June of 2021, Eccles and Fields were both working as deputy sheriffs, correct? Yeah. Question. And they were the only two deputy sheriffs who were invited to be a part of this specific group, correct? Answer. See, I can't answer that. Question. Okay, you don't remember? Answer. Mickey. If I put somebody in the group and they leave, I don't have documentation of that. You know, people add me to groups all the time on Facebook for yard sales and stuff, and I leave. So, question. Let's look at, do you dispute that these were conversations that you had with Jason Eccles and Ben Fields back in June of 2021? Mickey, no, I don't dispute it. Question. Okay. I am looking now to the page marked at the top, 1190. It looks like you guys are discussing some sheriff's deputy duties related to serving an EPO and a DEO on Stevie Wynn. Do you see that? Answer, yeah. Question, okay. What you are discussing there, that would be part of Mr. Eccles and Ben Fields' duties as deputy sheriffs, correct? Mickey says, who sent that? Question, if you look at the page before, it looks like Jason Eccles is referencing, and then Mickey chimes in and says, yes, that would be their duties serving an EPO. Question, Jason Eccles says on this page, I busted the window out and left a note that said, Mr. Stines appreciates your business, and left. Do you see that? Mickey says, yeah. Question, was that a joke, or do you think that he actually did that? Mickey says, no, that was a joke. Question, do you think that was funny? Answer, if he had really done that, no. Knowing Mr. Eccles, it was a joke. He's childish. Question, did you ever discipline him or reprimand him for being childish in any of the communications that are in these messages? Answer, Mickey, I've talked to him. Yeah. Yes. Question, when did you talk to him? Answer, I've talked to him during this, too. When he makes crazy memes and stuff, you know, we go overboard, and I tell them that they have got to relax. Quit being childish. Let's be more professional. Question, is there any sort of documentation of you telling them that? Mickey, answer, no, it's verbal. Question, did they stop after you told them they were being childish and they had gone too far? Did you answer that question? Answer, they have stopped now. Question, okay, when is now? Answer, right now. Question, as in since last week? Yeah. Question, Ben Fields was terminated back in 2022, right? Answer, yeah. Question, and I guess Jason Eccles still works there? Yeah. Question, has he continued with this kind of joking, childish behavior up through last week when you told him it was time to stop? Mickey says, yes. She says, was a lot of that done through Facebook Messenger communications? Mickey says, I don't recall. Question, I am looking at page marked 1191. It looks like a naked policeman. It looks to be an image that Jason Eccles sent to you and Ben Fields on June 14th. Is that correct? Mickey says, yes. Okay. And was your response to him sending that image, good morning, boys? LOL. Mickey says, yes. Question, so you thought it was funny? Yeah. Question, okay. Did you give him any kind of response to that image aside from LOL? Mickey says, not that I recall. I think that I asked him if that he had court. Question, so you guys go on about discussing deputy sheriff related duties there? He says, let me see. I'm just looking at the next one to make sure it is the right page. What was your question? She says, I asked you, have him any sort of response. I asked if you, I guess that should have been gave him. There's so many typos in these depositions. It's unbelievable. And it showed on the front page. They charged like $1,300. You'd think they'd have a good proofreader. I asked if you gave him any sort of response other than LOL. And I think you said no. And then I asked, you referenced that you talked about going to court. Mickey says, no, just if he has court. She says, okay. He says, I mean schedule. She says, okay. So you just went on talking about work-related And Mickey chimes in and says, yeah, trying to get away from the childish behavior. His lawyer, Mr. Shaw, says, note on Exhibit 10, I will object to the relevance. I don't know what this has to do with this case. Ms. Baxter says, that is fine. I think it is relevant. Mr. Shaw, Mickey's attorney, says, I think it is intended to annoy, embarrass, or harass this witness by using private messages and trying to get it into a public record. But we can take that up later if we need to. If we need to. Question. Okay. The next one that I have got is the one marked 1218A, the top. Or maybe it's at the top. And I will pass you a clean copy. I have got one extra copy. Mr. Shaw, is that number 11? Miss Baxter says, correct. Question. So this is still the female attorney. So does this also to be some messages between yourself and Fields and Jason Eccles, dated, I guess, June 18th of 2021? He says yes. Okay. And it looks like, by my read, Deputy Eccles and Deputy Fields are discussing some transports to Hazard? Mickey says yes. Question. Okay. And Ben Fields writes, I think they both like the same smex, though. Jason Eccles writes, you mean like freaky smex? And Jason Eccles responds, hardcore? Were they discussing the smexual orientation or smexual proclivities of these persons who they are about to transport? Mickey says, I can't answer that. I don't know. Question. Well, you received the messages back in June of 2021. I don't know who they would be talking about, if not the persons who they are about to transport. But I'm wondering what your interpretation was when you read it. And Mickey answers, to be honest with you, I don't read a lot of these because they are so childish. If you will look mine, I don't read a lot of them. I get a lot of messages that I don't even pay attention to. Mr. Shaw, his attorney, chimes in and says, I object to the characterization. I mean, it is plain if they need to take 2 transport vehicles. Ms. Baxter says, well, the record will speak for itself. Question. You chime in and you say you can take them both at the same time or take 2 different vehicles. You were referencing that same transport, correct? Mickey says, yeah. Question. Is it appropriate for a deputy sheriff to discuss the smexual orientation or smexual proclivities of persons who they are transporting? Mickey says, absolutely not. Question. Did Ben Fields or Jason Eccles ever get disciplined or reprimanded for having this conversation? Mickey, this certain one, I can't recall. Question. And then there is some reference at the bottom, and Jason says, are we playing Sunday? And you wrote, don't know yet. Are you talking about playing poker? Mickey says, yes. Question. Did you serve alcohol at those poker get-togethers? Mickey says, very rarely, but there is alcohol there from time to time. I don't drink a lot because I get called out where I am the sheriff. But now, if I am out of town, yes, I will have an alcoholic beverage. Question. Sure. Okay. We will put that one down. And this is the one marked 1343. I guess it will be Exhibit 12. Question. And this one looks to be some messages between yourself, Deputy Eccles, Deputy Norris, and someone with the last name of Bowling, Christine Bowling. Who is Christine Bowling? Mickey says, she's an employee of the office. Question. Okay, what is her title? Answer. She is an administrative assistant to LaShawna. So LaShawna has an assistant. Wow. Question. Okay. All of those folks who are a party to this communication are also working under your supervision as the Letcher County Sheriff's Department. Correct? Answer. Yeah. Question. Okay. This was June 23rd through June 25th of 2021. Correct? Mickey says yes. Question. Okay. So it looks like Deputy Norris shares a screenshot that's sort of, by my read, making a joke about smexual arousal and Crown Victoria vehicles. Is that fair? Answer. That he had sent to his wife. Yes. Question. And then he shared it with you and his coworkers, right? Answer. Yeah. Question. Did you think that was an appropriate thing for him to do? Mickey says, I don't understand your question. Question. Was it appropriate for a deputy sheriff to be sharing a message like this with yourself and his coworkers? Mickey says, to blow off some steam and make fun of each other, you know. So, question. So does that mean yes, it was appropriate? Mickey says, no, it was not appropriate. They all want to make excuses for this behavior, and it's not excusable. Question. Did Deputy Norris receive any kind of discipline or reprimand as a result of this communication? Mickey says, I can't recall if it was on this one. Question. Has he ever been disciplined or gotten a reprimand? Aunt Mickey says, verbal. Yes, often. Well, ain't that a red flag? Question. So are you saying they have been reprimanded for this communication? Mickey. I can't recall. Question. Okay, let's look at the next one. This one is marked 13. Question. This is the page marked 1649. Do you recall ever sent or received any of these communications that we have looked at thus far during work hours? Mickey says, I can't recall. I mean, I work all the time. Question. Okay, well, at least based on these couple of pages, it looks like it is yourself and someone named Seth Whitaker. Is he a deputy sheriff? Mickey says, not anymore. Question. Okay. Was he back on August 11th of 21? Mickey says, yes. Question. Why is he no longer with the sheriff's department? Mickey says he found better employment. Question. It looks like you sent him a photo. It is on the second page, showing a building with a big sign that says Mouse's Ear. Mickey says, yes. Question. What is a Mouse's Ear? Mickey says, a strip club. Question. Yeah, I Googled it. And it says that it is strip club in Johnson City. Does that sound correct? Mickey says, yes. Question. Have you ever been there? Mickey says, years ago. Yes. Question. Have you ever been there with anybody else that works with the sheriff's department? Mickey says, absolutely not. Question. Did you send that to your deputy sheriff because you thought it was funny? Mickey says, yes. Question. This one is marked 8906 at the top. And Mr. Daniel Dotson says, did you say 8906? She says, correct. Question. Okay. This to me looks to be a conversation between yourself, Fields, Deputy Fields, and Deputy Eccles. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. And it looks like Jason Eccles sends an image with a joke referencing penis size. Is that accurate? Looking at the second page. Mickey says, yeah. Yes. Question. Okay. And then he writes, I figured this would be better here. LOL. Do you know what he meant when he said this would be better here? Mickey says, no, not that I recall. Question. Okay. And then you wrote to him, that was funny. Do you see that on the third page? Mickey says, Is that coming from me? Question. On the third page. Yeah. It has got your name at the bottom of 8907, and at the top of 8908, it says that was funny. I think that statement is attributed to you, but would you agree? Mickey says, that is funny, or that statement is attributed, or that is funny, or the statement is attributed to me. Question. Did you say in this chain that was funny? And Mickey says, yes. Question. Okay. And you were talking about the pecker size joke that Deputy Eccles sent. Is that correct? Mickey says, that is what it says here. Question. And then you also have a reference that you say, and that picture that Ben done was great. Do you see that? Mickey says, yeah. Do you know what picture that you were referring to? Mickey says, no, not that I recall. Question. Okay. So this was from August 19th of 2021. Mickey says, yes. Question. Let's look at this next exhibit. So this is the one marked 1697. Mr. Shaw chimes in. This will be number 15. Question. Okay. This was also dated August 19th, 21, correct? Mickey says yes. Okay. And this looks to be some communications between yourself, Deputy Eccles, and Deputy Norris from my read. Mickey says yes. So it looks like first, the way that I read this, you sent a photo of like maybe a Greek statue, some sort of stone statue that is on the page marked 1698. Mickey says yes. And then later you sent another image where it looks to be the same statue, but it has got your face, Deputy Eccles' face, and I believe maybe Deputy Norris's face. Is that correct? Mickey says yes. Question. Do you remember who created that image? Mickey says, not that I recall. Question. Do you know why that you sent that image to your deputies? Mickey says, for blowing off a little steam, picking on each other. I failed to see how being vulgar and dirty-minded and, just being childish, like I wouldn't send a naked man or a naked woman to my best friend. We don't joke like that. I failed to see how this is picking on each other and blowing off steam. I don't see how this is blowing off steam. This is not a good excuse. I don't see how that blows off any steam. To be dirty-minded and vulgar, especially in a professional, I just don't see it. They're all crossing all kinds of lines and boundaries and breaking all kinds of policies. How are you picking on them in this picture? Mr. Shaw chimes in. Continuing objection to relevance. Go ahead. Mickey says, we are just aggravating each other. Question. And then on the next page, marked 1700, you wrote, this is great at Ben Fields. Is that because Ben Fields photoshopped the faces on the statue for you? Mickey says, I can't recall. I think he is in the group with us, so it will mark at Ben Fields. The next one, if you will follow down what I'm telling you about, it says, what you mad about at James Norris. If you all could put that together, I can't even try. Question. So you are asking James Norris what he is mad about? Mickey says, no. James Eccles above it said, I am getting real sick and tired of this. Do you want me to say it? Question. Sure. Mickey says, shit. I got feelings too, Question. I said, what are you mad about? James Norris should be the one mad. Look where James's position on the statue. Question. And that is what I was going to ask. Are you saying that James should be the mad one because he is the one that's face is over the penis on this statue? Mickey says, yes, ma'am. Question. We can put this one aside. This is marked 2039 at the top. So is this a communication between yourself and other person who worked in the Letcher County Sheriff's Department dated October 11th, 2021? Mickey says yes. Question. Okay. And then on the second page, there is an image. Is that an image that you sent to these persons who you supervise in the Letcher County Sheriff's Department? Mickey says, yeah, that's what it looks like. Okay, whose face is that up there? Mickey says, Jason Eccles. Question. And just to clarify, was he the person who also pictured over the turtle's head on the last exhibit that we just looked at? Mickey says, yes. Question. Why did you send this to these person who you supervise? Mickey says, I thought it was funny. Question. And you wrote, and I am looking at 2040. You wrote, I was trying to be respectful, but that is funny. Was you referencing the image that you sent? Mickey says, yes. Question. What kind of example do you think that you were setting for the folks working under you by engaging in this kind of conversation with your sheriff's deputies? Mickey says, horrible. Question. Did those communications that we just looked through, did those violate any of the Letcher County Sheriff's Department's policies that we reviewed earlier? Mickey says, yes. Question. Which ones? Mickey says, conduct. Conduct unbecoming? He says, acting professional. Question. At least after those communications we looked through, do you recall there being any discipline or reprimand resulting from any of those communications? Mickey says, no documentation. Question. Nothing documented, you are saying? Mickey says, that's right, Miss Baxter. This is Miss Baxter. Actually, this may be a good time to take a break. You know, I was just looking at that, and if that typo is wrong there, then it says the exact opposite of what it should say. That's a dangerous typo. Just saying. Okay. Question. We just listened to about 4 or 5 minutes of an audio recording that we got through open records from the Attorney General's office. Did you recognize the voice on that recording? Mickey says, yeah. Question. Was that Brianna Cornett? Mickey says, yes. Question. Okay. And did you hear her twice reference her mother speaking to you about her issues with Ben Fields? Mickey says, yes. Question. Okay. Is her mother named Christy Foltz? Mickey says, yeah, I believe so. Question. So do you let me see what that says. Do you recall when Christy Foltz came to you and talked to you about Brianna Cornett's issue with Ben Fields? Let me make sure I got it there. Okay. He says, no, she has never come to me and talked to me about issues with Brianna. Question. So it is your testimony that Christy Foltz never made that report to you? Mickey says, of the smexual allegations? Question. I think that was I heard on the recording was that Christy Foltz went to you and said, I have to live in this town, but I know why he won't give it to her. Talking about putting Brianna Cornett back on home incarceration. Mickey says, I don't recall that conversation with Miss Foltz. Question. I think you said earlier that Brianna Cornett did have a lot of run-ins with the law over the years. Were most of those drug-related to the best of your knowledge? Mickey says, yes. Question. Was she ever on home incarceration when you were the home incarceration officer? Mickey says, I don't recall. Question, okay. Talk about another document here. It is going to be Exhibit 17. Question, I will give you a chance to review it if you've not seen it before. Mickey says, okay. I want to ask you specifically about paragraphs 5 and 6. But first, have you ever seen this affidavit before? Mickey says, I can't recall. Do you know Chris Triplett? Mickey says, yes. Question, how do you know him? Mickey says, criminal record. Question, okay. What do you know about his criminal record? Mickey says, it is long. It is lengthy. Question, can you be more specific? Mickey says, he has been in the court system a lot. Okay, so in paragraph 5 of this affidavit, he states that on or about December 15th of 2021, he reported the smexual abuse of Jennifer Hill by Deputy Fields to the Letcher County Sheriff's Department by telephone and in person at your headquarters downtown. Do you see that? Mickey says, yeah. Question, so what did the Letcher County Sheriff's Department do in response to this report? Mickey says, we didn't receive no report from Mr. Triplett. Question, have you asked your staff about whether or not that any such report was made back in December of 2021? Mickey says, yes. Question, what response did you get? Answer, no one received any reports to that. Question, when did you ask your staff about that? Mickey said, I don't recall. Question, was it after this lawsuit was filed or before? Mickey says it would have been after. Question, are you aware on or about December 15th of 2021, Chris Triplett was pulled over by Deputy Norris for having a tinted license plate cover? Were you aware of that? Mickey says, I don't recall. Question, is Deputy Norris a road officer? Yes, ma'am. Okay. So when did you, as Letcher County Sheriff, first become aware of these allegations against Ben Fields related to Jennifer Hill? Mickey says, I don't recall. Okay. If there was a woman who would have picked up the phone at the Sheriff's Department, do you know who that woman would have been back in December of 21? Mickey says, Christine Boland or LaShawna Frazier. Question, okay. And are they sort of office support staff or administrative staff? Mickey says, yes. Can we stop for a minute? I need to ask you a question. Mr. Shaw, okay. They took another break. Question, do you recall specifically, and we are still discussing the Chris Triplett report that he describes in his affidavit to the Sheriff's Department. Do you recall whether you talked specifically to Deputy Whitaker about whether he ever received a report about smexual misconduct related to Jennifer Hill and Ben Fields? Mickey says, I can't recall. Question, is Whitaker still working for the Sheriff's Department? No. Okay. When did he leave? I don't recall the date. Okay. What about a female? If a female was in uniform at the Sheriff's Department, does that mean she would have been a deputy, or do your administrative support staff wear uniforms also? Mickey said, you'd have to be able to tell me what uniform. Question, like a deputy? Mickey says there are different types. Question, how many different types of uniforms? Mickey says standard. There is a Class A with all of the dress and everything. There's a Class B with BDU bottoms and BDU top. They're a polo like a BDU bottom. Question, what is BDU? Mickey says, it is like military style pants with a lot of pockets. Question, I guess in December of 21, what females were working for Letcher County Sheriff's Department who would have worn any kind of those uniforms that you just described? We have talked about Bowling and Frazier, right? Mickey says yes. Question. Would either of them been in any kind of uniform? Mickey says no. But I got pictures of LaShawna and the bowling girl. I've got several, like 2, I think, pictures in my phone of both of them women wearing uniforms. Sheriff's department uniforms. Now, they might not be the same. They're not a full dress uniform like a deputy, a road deputy, but it's still a uniform. So I don't know what that's about. And we can look right on Facebook and see them. So I don't know why he said no to that. Question. So beyond that, I have seen the names Alexis Stambaugh. Mickey says yes. Question. She would have been someone who would have worn a uniform. Have seen the name Destiny Hall. I went to school with Destiny. We both got our bachelor's degree in the same program. And Lexi Stambaugh, she was a road deputy at one time. So she would have wore a deputy uniform. Destiny Hall, I think I've only seen her wear a court uniform or something, like court security. But I've never seen Destiny in road attire. But I've not seen her in several years either. But I've seen her on Facebook and at the courthouse. And I've never seen her wear a full uniform. But that's just me not seeing her. She could have. Mickey says yes. Question. She would have been a uniformed person. Mickey says yes. Question. I think those are the only female names that I've seen. Corey Harris. Is that a female? Mickey says no. Question. So I guess as far as woman in uniform, can you think of anyone else aside from Destiny Hall or Alexis Stambaugh? Mickey says, Lexi worked for me twice. She says, okay. Mickey says, so they might not have included her on the time.
At the time.
I know, but it's right. That's what I'm saying. They've got so many typos in this thing. I don't know how they've even put it in a court. That's ridiculous. Question. Do either of them still work for you, Lexi or Destiny? Answer, no. Question. Are they still in Letcher County as best you can tell? Mickey says yes. Question. Set that one aside and get this one. Let me know when you are finished reviewing that. Mr. Shaw says this will be Exhibit 18. Question. Have you ever seen this declaration of Stacey Yates before? Mickey says, not that I recall. Do you know who Stacey Yates is? Mickey says, yes, I'm familiar with him. Question. How are you familiar with him? Mickey says, he has been in court and stuff, on and off too. Question. In January of 22, were you aware that he filed this petition for an emergency protective order? Would that be something that you were aware of as sheriff? Mickey says, not always. They come over a computer system. I don't always see them all. Question. Do you see there is some names in paragraph 6? Robbie Kinser. Do you know who Robbie Kinser is? Mickey says, yes. Who's Robbie Kinser? He's the drug court coordinator for Letcher County. Question. Would you interact with him on any kind of regular basis in your capacity as sheriff? Mickey says, not regular basis. Question. Well, how often a week would you see him? Answer. It's not weekly. Okay, once a month? Mickey says, if that. Question. Do you have any deputies that would have worked more closely than you would with him? Answer. Yes. Who would that be? It would be circuit court bailiff. Question. And that would be Jason Eccles, or that would have been Jason Eccles at least back in 2021 and in January of 22. Correct? See, I think they've replaced that with the wrong name. I think that was supposed to have been, and that would be Jason Eccles, or that would have been, because that doesn't make sense that they would put that name in there twice, at least back in 2021 and in January of 22, unless I'm just reading that wrong. Anyway, Mickey says, I can't recall. Mike Infuse has worked for like 3 times. So Mike Infuse has been up there too. Keith Smith has been up there also. So there have been several. Question. So it could have been either Eccles, Smith, or what was the other guy's name? Infuse. Question. Do you know who Holly Boggs is? Answer. That is a drug court worker, also with the state, I believe. Question. And she is also Ben Fields' sister, correct? So she works as a drug court worker, also with the state. So does that mean she has 2 jobs? Because it looks to me like all these people down there have several different jobs and they're all making a killing. Good for them. Answer. Yes. Question. Okay. What about Elena Blackford? Mickey says, I'm not familiar with that name. Question. Okay. What about Chad Clemens? Do you know who that is? Answer. A worker with drug court is all that I know. Question. Would it make sense for Ben Fields to be in a hearing in a drug court session? Mickey says, where does it? Question. I am looking at paragraph 7. It says, during this drug court session, there was some discussion between Judge Kraft and Ben Fields regarding the EPO location and residence of Sabrina Adkins. Do you see that? Mickey says yes. Question. I guess that Ben Fields, as I understood, was the district court bailiff. Answer. Yes. Question. But I guess would it make sense for him to be discussing with Judge Kraft the location and residence of someone on home incarceration? Mickey says yes. Question. And Sabrina Adkins, do you see her name there? Mickey says where? Question. Yeah, it is in this declaration a few different times. Mickey says yes. Question. When was the first time that you heard her name or met Sabrina Adkins? Mickey says, I don't recall. Question. Have you met her? Mickey says, I don't recall. Question. Do you see? Mickey says, when Judge Kraft and Robbie reported that to me in my office that day after the reporter, they also apologized to me because they did not come to me and tell me all of this earlier. So Judge Kraft and Robbie Kinser knew this and they didn't go tell Mickey, and then they apologized to him? Yikes. Question. So they let you know that they had this information for some period of time, but did not divulge it to you? Mickey says yes. How are more of these people not named in this lawsuit is my question. Mr. Shaw, object to that characterization. Question. Why did they wait? Did they tell you why? Mickey, no verbal answer given. Question. Are you pointing something out on the affidavit? Mickey says yes. Question. Did something catch your eye? Mickey says yes. Question. What caught your eye? Answer. It is some handwriting. Question. Yeah. I will say that is Stacy Yates adding some additional details to this. Mr. Shaw, Mickey's attorney. I was going to ask whose handwriting that is. Miss Baxter. It is my understanding that it is Stacy Yates. Question. So I am looking at paragraph 13. And it says that Robbie Kinser called Stacy Yates and asked him to park across the street behind the apartments so no one would see his car, looking at the top of page 2, paragraph 13. Mickey says yes. Question: do you know where that location would be across the street behind the apartments? Is there some apartments across the street from the courthouse? Mickey says, there's a bunch of apartments around the courthouse. I don't know which one that he was talking about. Question: okay, so you don't know where that location is? Mickey says, no. Mr. Shaw: object to the extent that you are wanting this witness to identify anything about the veracity of this document. He is not mentioned in it. There's no indication. There is handwritten notes at the bottom that no one ever told him anything. The document speaks for itself. Question: okay, where's the Letcher County Drug Court office? Mickey says, it has been different locations at different times. Good point. Where was it in January of 22? Mickey says, I don't recall. Question: based on what you said earlier, at some point you became aware that Robbie Kinser and Judge Kraft had some knowledge about Ben Fields. Is that correct? Mickey says yes. Wow, man. This is so bad. Question: okay. And do you know whether the information that Robbie Kinser and Judge Kraft had come from Stacy Yates? Answer: that is what they told me. Question: okay. What else did they tell you? Mickey says that he had reported some smexual interactions with Fields and Sabrina Adkins. That something about some messages. Question: okay. Mickey: that they were sorry that they didn't come to me sooner. Man. Question: did they mention Brianna Cornett at that time? Mickey: not at that time. Question: okay. Did they mention her later? Mickey: no, they did mention her at that time. Okay. Mickey: yeah, they did mention her at that time. Question: and did they give you any of these messages or did have any physical documents to share? Answer: I didn't take any of it where I was getting investigation. So they had evidence, but Mickey wouldn't take it from Judge Kraft. Question: did they tell you that they had reported it to anyone before reporting it to you? Mickey: not that I recall. Question: did they tell you how long that they had that information before sharing it with you? Mickey: not that I recall. Question: there is some reference to someone trying to get Stacy Yates terminated from drug court. Do you know who that could have been? Mickey: no idea. I don't work close with drug court. I'm not on the drug court team. Question: are there any sheriff's deputies that are on the drug court team? Mickey: no, there is the bailiffs that are upstairs. Question: and that would be the same folks that you just referenced? Mickey: my understanding, yes, at that time frame. Question: okay. Where were you when you had this conversation with Robbie Kinser and Judge Kraft? Mickey: in my office. Question: so they walked over to your office from the courthouse? Yes. Was anybody else present for that conversation? Mickey: not in my office. No. Question: okay. Did Robbie Kinser ever tell you that she spoke directly to Robbie Kinser? Mickey: I don't recall. Who is she? Question: yeah. Did Robbie Kinser ever tell you that he spoke directly to Brianna Cornett? Mickey: I don't recall. Question: how long did that meeting between yourself and Judge Kraft and Robbie Kinser last? Mickey: I don't recall. Question: well, I guess this one did come from AG Production too. So that's the Attorney General. Mr. Shaw says, what number is this one? Mr. Dotson, 19. Question. So this looks like this is a criminal complaint that Ben Fields swore out. Is that the correct terminology? Mickey says yes. Question. I guess, would a sheriff's deputy need to come to you first before they swear out a complaint like this? Mickey, I don't understand your question. Question. I was just wondering, is there some sort of process? If I am a deputy sheriff and I'm going to go get a criminal complaint, do I have to notify the sheriff before that I do that? Or was there any sort of, and Mickey says no. Question. Deputies have full discretion to go and get criminal complaints without approval from the sheriff. Is that correct? Mr. Shaw. Object to form. Approval comes from the county attorney. Miss Baxter. Okay, I was just wondering if he was involved in that process at all. Mr. Shaw. When he is not actively on the case? Miss Baxter. I guess in any circumstance. Question. If a deputy sheriff wants to go and get a criminal complaint, would the sheriff be aware of that? Mickey says, not at all times. Question. Okay. What would the circumstances be when you would be aware of that? Mickey. If I am on the case. Question. What does it mean to be on the case? Answer. If I'm working the case. If it is my case. Question. Well, if it was your case, wouldn't you be the person to get the complaint? Mickey says, yes. Question. Okay. So if it is your case, would there ever be a situation where instead of yourself, a deputy would go to swear out the complaint? Mickey. If he was a witness to it, he could go down. Question. Okay. Thank you. I don't practice criminal law, so I'm not trying to ask dumb questions. I'm just trying to understand how the process works. Mickey. Just trying to understand. Question. And likewise, I am not trying to belabor it. So this says that the offender on home incarceration failed to report to the Letcher County Sheriff's Office. Do you see that? Mickey. Yeah. Question. And Ben Fields signs this as, it says Ben Fields LCSO. Do you see that? Mickey says yes. Is that the designation for Letcher County Sheriff's Office? Mickey says yes. So you are saying that he would have gone to speak to the county attorney about this complaint, and he would have worked with the county attorney to fill this out? Is that your understanding? Mickey. He spoke with the county attorney's assistant. Question. So Angela Trent's signature down there at the bottom? Mickey says yes. Question. And that is one of my questions. Who is Angela Trent? Mickey. She's a secretary for the county attorney. Question. Okay. So as best you can tell, Ben Fields worked with Angela Trent and swore out this complaint, correct? A secretary did it? Mickey. Yes. Question. And looks like this got printed on January 14th. And then if you look at the next page, it looks like this complaint warrant was generated on the 15th. Do you see that? Mickey says yes. Question. So would you have been aware of the fact that complaint warrant had been generated? Mickey says no, it wasn't generated on the 15th. You looked at that wrong. Question. Okay, help me. Answer. The judge signed it on the 14th. Question. Oh, I see. Answer. It says date that it was printed, the copy. That's what Mickey said. Question. And I was looking at the top right corner where it just says generated. Mr. Dotson. Where is, Mr. Shaw, number 14? Bless you. Mickey says, it was actually the judge signed it on the 14th. So it is actually should have been generated then in the computer system. Question. But in this case, it looks like it was not generated until the next morning. Regardless, would the sheriff's department get a copy of this after the warrant is generated? Mickey says, no, ma'am. So what, if any, involvement with the sheriff's office have with this complaint warrant? Mickey says it would go into a computer system. Question. Okay. And I guess this is the sheriff's department responsible for arresting people and serving warrants? Mickey says yes. Question. So would you have been responsible for this warrant? Mickey says, we looked at them daily. I don't know if we're responsible for that one. Question. Okay. So the sheriff's department would have looked at this complaint warrant in the computer system? Mickey says, we look at complaint warrants in a computer system once the OA, the AOC, and the E-warrant system. She says, okay, is there one person at the sheriff's department who's responsible for reviewing all of that? Mickey says, no. Question, okay, so everybody has access to it? Mickey says, everybody has access to E-warrants. Question, okay. Are there only certain deputies within the Letcher County Sheriff's Department who have the authority to arrest people? Mickey says, depends on location. Question, okay. Help me understand what you mean by that. Mickey says, road deputies can arrest on the road and, court and everything. Court security is supposed to be court on courthouse grounds. Question, okay. So Ben Fields only had the authority to arrest people in court and on courthouse grounds. Is that correct? Mickey says yes. Question. So is it fair or is it accurate to say that at least as of the morning of January 15th, everyone within the Letcher County Sheriff's Office would at least have access to be able to see this complaint warrant, correct? Mickey says it depends on what day it is. Oh, I see. That is a Saturday. Mickey, yeah. Nobody is at the office. I don't even have a deputy out on Saturday mornings. Question. Did you ever take issue? Do you ever recall reviewing this criminal complaint or complaint warrant? Not to my knowledge. Okay, that is all that I have got for that one. Question. These are some notes that I got through the Attorney General's office. I think that I never got an unredacted copy from you, but I believe these to be your notes. Mickey says yes. Question. So do you still have a copy of this? I have asked your attorney for it, but I have, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan, but I don't think that I have ever gotten a clean copy of this. Mr. Shaw, I'm not sure if you asked for it or not, but I'll check and see if we do have it. Ms. Baxter, I've emailed you about this. Mickey, I believe that we do have it. Question, would be accessible to you right now? Because I'd love to know whose names are redacted from this copy that I've got. Mickey, I don't have it with me. No. Mr. Shaw, if we have got it, we will get it to you. Ms. Baxter, okay. I have definitely asked for it several times over email. Question, are these your notes that you took on January 31st of 22? Mickey, those are hand wrote by LaShawna Frazier because she was at the office with me that I made a timeline. Mr. Shaw, so that is not your handwriting. Mickey, no, that is not my handwriting. Question, so she made these notes for you? Mickey, yes. Question, did you make notes that she then used to make these notes? Mickey, no, I sat down with her. Question, did you dictate this to her? Mickey, yes. Question, so it is dated January 21st of 22. Did you dictate this to her on that date? Mickey, I can't recall. Question, so it looks like you noted that a reporter called you and notified you of the lawsuit. Do you see that? Mickey says, yes. Question, do you remember who that reporter was? No, I do not. Question, looks like the next thing you did happened 15 minutes later. So were you on the phone with that reporter for 15 minutes? Mickey, no. Question, did the reporter send you any documents? Mickey, no. I'd love to know who that reporter was. Question, after you got off the phone, did you access any documents before speaking to Ben? Mickey, I can't recall. Question, so it looks like at 4:15 you spoke with Ben regarding reporter info. Do you see that? Mickey, yes. Question, so did you speak with him in person or on the phone? I believe it was on the phone. Question, do you remember where he was when you called him? Mickey, no, I don't recall. Question, what did you say? Mickey, I can't recall the exact details of the conversation. Question, I would like for you to try the best that you can, because this is my only chance to ask you about it. I think he would remember that conversation. But, Mickey, that a reporter had called and that somebody had filed a lawsuit against him. Question, okay, and what did he tell you? Mickey, I can't recall. Question, did he admit? Mickey, I can't recall. Question, did he deny any wrongdoing? Mickey, I can't recall the exact conversation. I don't believe any of that. Question, how long did you speak to him? Mickey, it was just very brief. Question, was there any sort of intent to follow up or next steps discussed? Mickey, I can't recall. Question, did you tell him there was going to be an investigation by the sheriff's department into these allegations? Mickey, no. I don't recall telling him that at that time. Question, then it looks like the next thing on your timeline is from 4 p.m. So did you leave the office between 2:15 when you talked to Ben Fields and 4 p.m. when you talked to Kraft and Kinser? Mickey, no. Question, you stayed in the office. Did you talk to anybody else during that time period? Mickey, yeah, I talked to LaShawna Frazier and Christine. Question, what did you all talk about? Mickey, I told them that I had got a call from a reporter and a lawsuit had been filed against Ben. Question, what did they say? Answer, they were shocked. Really? Nobody else was shocked. Question, did you look up Sabrina Adkins? Did the reporter give you her name? Mickey, I don't recall. Question, did you access any court records in that time period? Answer, I don't recall. Question, okay. Did you know Judge Kraft and Robbie Kinser were coming down to talk to you before they showed up? Answer, no, they just showed up. Question, okay. So on your timeline, you say Judge Kraft and Robbie with drug court regarding Brianna and Sabrina. So did you already know the names Brianna and Sabrina before they showed up? Mickey, no. Question, what do you recall them telling you? Mickey, I'm trying to remember. They came into the office and told me that Ben had been fooling around with a drug court participant. Question, okay. Mickey, Brianna Cornett, and that Stacy Yates had reported that he had been fooling with Sabrina Adkins, and that is when they mentioned something about messages. Question, was that their term of art fooling? Did they use that phrase? Mickey, I don't recall. Question. So they told you that Ben had been fooling around with Brianna Cornett and told you that Stacy Yates had reported that there had been some sort of fooling around between Ben and Sabrina Adkins. Did I understand that correctly? Mickey says, yes. Question. And that there are some messages? Mickey says, yes. Question. Did they tell you that they had these messages? Mickey, I can't recall. Bull crap. Question. Did they give you copies of any messages? Mickey, I can't recall. Question. Did they tell you whether they reported it to anybody before reporting it to you? Mickey, they advised me that they had not reported it to any law enforcement or anybody else. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. I told y'all it's a circle of a whole lot of people, and a whole lot of people knew about all this stuff that was going on. Question. Okay, what about Judge Mullins? Do you think that he was aware? Did they tell you? Answer. No, they didn't tell me. Question. Okay. Did you say earlier that they were apologizing to you? Mickey. Yes. Question. Explain to me how they apologized to you. Answer. They just said that they were sorry that they didn't come and tell me when they first found out about it. Why didn't they? Question. Okay. What did you say to them? Answer. Yeah, you should have come and told me. I'm the sheriff. You know that I'm going to want to know that. Question. Okay. After that, can you think of anything else that was discussed in that meeting? Any next steps discussed? Answer. Not that I can recall. What if Mickey found out that all these people knew what was going on and nobody told him? What if Mickey found out that Kevin Mullins knew? What if Mickey found out that Judge Kraft knew, Robbie Kinser knew, Jason Eccles knew? Allegedly. What if he found out? What if he really didn't know? I mean, I don't believe that. I'm just saying, what if? And then all of a sudden he finds out that everybody else knew and nobody told him. And then he's the one that's getting sued. And he's the one that's losing everything. That'd be really rough, y'all. Because it doesn't sound like Mickey had a whole lot of like administrative knowledge. It doesn't sound like Mickey had a whole lot of, he wasn't educated a whole lot. It doesn't seem like he was. Oh, man. And we know, anybody that lives here knows the gossip and stuff that's down there in Whitesburg at that courthouse is maddening. I mean, it's just crazy gossip, backstabbing, talking about everybody behind their back. It's a mess. And then you include all of this stuff, people sleeping with people, and Ben drinking on the job. He admitted to drinking in the jail. You think people he worked with didn't know that? You know, his wife knew it. She was a sergeant in the jail. And them two having smacks down there while on the job. And him admitting to that. And she gets a promotion, a better job. Not really a promotion, but she gets a better job in the courthouse. They just keep everybody right there, protect everybody, and take care of their own. Question. Okay, well, I wonder where Ben's at right now. Where's Ben Fields? He spent 6 months in the Letcher County Jail and had the best time. He had a big screen TV. He had a big thick mattress he got to sleep on in his own cell that his wife could come in whenever she wanted. Door didn't even lock. He got to be a trustee in the Letcher County Jail. Yeah, he was really punished, wasn't he? And you think about it. Even if Mickey was going to go down, why take out the judge? Ben Fields only got 6 months in jail. Shoot, what was Mickey facing at the most? Probably not much. There was a whole lot more to this, y'all. Question. Okay. Looks like the next thing that you did was tell me this was Frazier and Bowling, a part of that meeting with Kraft and Kinser? Mickey says no. Question. It was just the three of you? Mickey says yes. Question. Okay. After Judge Kraft and Robbie Kinser left, did you tell Frazier and Bowling you talked to them again as you had after you spoke to Ben? Mickey says, not that I recall. Question. And then it looks like at 4:30, sent a text and spoke to somebody, Sturgill, with KSP? Mickey, Derek Sturgill. Question. Who is that? Answer. He is a supervisor with KSP Post 13. Question. That is Hazard, right? Yes. Question. Okay. What did he tell you? Mickey. I can't recall the conversation. Question. Well, I guess, did you tell him about the report about Ben Fields? Mickey. Yeah. Question. Okay. I guess, did you tell him what you had been told by Judge Kraft and Robbie Kinser? Mickey. I don't know if I told him that. Or I had an employee that had some allegations made against him. I need an investigation. Question. Okay. So you requested an investigation, and what was his response? Mickey. I can't recall the text. I can't recall what the text said. Question. Do you have the text still? Mickey. I can check. Question. Okay. I would like for you to check on that. Okay. Then, I am sorry if I missed this, but did you actually get a hold of any messages between Ben Fields and either of these women from Judge Kraft and Robbie Kinser that day? Mickey. I can't recall if they gave me messages or not. Really? Question. So the next thing that I see on your timeline is at 5:45. The county attorney came to your office. Mickey. Yes. Question. Who is that? Answer. Jamie Hatton. Question. Okay. And did he come to your office because you asked him to come to your office? Mickey. Yes. Question. Okay. And did he call him to tell him? And did you call him to tell him? Mickey. Yes. Question. And what did you guys discuss? Mickey. Just what some of the allegations were. Question. Okay. And what was his advice to you? Answer. The letter suspending without pay. Question. I have a copy of that right here. I have a ton of copies because it was from Mr. Fields' deposition. Question. Is this the document that you created after having that conversation with Jamie Hatton on January 31st? Answer. Yes. Question. There's not a lot of detail in there. Do you see that? Answer. Yeah. Question. Why were you putting Ben Fields on suspension without pay? Mickey. Because he has been messing around allegedly with drug court participant, other female. Question. Aside from the folks that you have mentioned as we have been reviewing this exhibit marked number 20, was there anybody else that you consulted with about this decision to suspend Ben Fields without pay aside from the folks you mentioned already? Mickey. Not that I'm aware of. Not that I am aware. Question. Did you ever instruct Ben Fields to delete any of his Facebook groups or messages? Mickey. No. Question. Did you delete any of your messages with Ben Fields after these allegations came to light? Mickey. Not that I'm aware of. Question. So you said met with Ben Fields. Did he actually come to your office that night? Mickey. Yes. Question. Okay. And so who else was present aside from yourself and Mr. Fields? Mickey. I took him back to my office and shut the door. Question. So there was no witness to this? Mickey. Question. Okay. What did you say to Ben Fields? Answer. That the reporter had made some allegations and a lawsuit had been filed against him for smexual abuse. Question. Okay. Did he respond to that? Answer. I can't recall what he said. Question. Did he deny it? Did he admit anything? Mickey. I can't recall at that time. Whatever. Question. Okay. Before we get to the Ben Fields aspect of this, at 1816, so I guess that is 626, someone whose name is blacked out came to your office. Do you remember who that was? Mickey. Yeah. Question. Who was that? Mickey. That was Brianna. Question. Was she in jail at that time? Did they bring her up from the jail? Mickey. I can't recall. Question. Did you call her up on the phone and ask her to come to your office, or how did she end up knowing to go there? Mickey. I don't recall. Question. Did anybody bring her there? Mickey. I can't recall. Question. Did she come to your office at your request? Mickey. I can't recall. Old Daniel Dotson prepped him great for this deposition. Question. So she appeared at your office, and what was the conversation? Mickey. She came into the office and sat down at the desk, and Lashana was there, and she came in and said Ben Fields, he had kissed her, I believe, in his car. Question. Okay. Did you make any notes or any kind of recorded statement? That would have been what any law enforcement officer that he knew what to do and he didn't do it. Of what she was telling you? Mickey. No, I told her to give me her name and number and I'd have somebody to contact her. Question. Okay. You already knew her name though. Mickey. Yes, I had her write it down. I'll try to find that. Question. Okay. You think that you wrote that down. You say that you wrote down her name and number, but you don't recall making any notes about the substance of what she told you? Mickey. No. Question. And no one else was present for that conversation? Mickey. Yes. Lashana Frazier was there. Question. Lashana. Okay. Did that take place in your office or in the, Mickey, in Lashana's area? Out front, not in my office. Question. Anybody else present in the office at that time? Mickey. By that time, dispatch is gone. Question. Okay. How long did that conversation last? Mickey. A few minutes. Question. Did you believe that Brianna Cornett was being truthful with you? Is that your impression? Mickey. I didn't see why that she had any reason to lie. Question. Okay. And the next person that you spoke to was, did you call the county attorney back and update him what you learned from Miss Cornett? Mickey. I believe I did. Question. Okay. Mickey. I talked to the county attorney multiple times, even when he wasn't at the office. I called him. Question. Do you think this suspension without pay memorandum was created after that you spoke to Brianna Cornett or before? Mickey. I think it was after. I gathered all this information here. Jamie came over before Brianna came and told him kind of what we had. What Jimmy Kraft and drug court, you know, the messing around stuff. And Brianna comes and I called him and told him about Brianna saying that Ben kissed her. And then I think that is when he said you have to suspend him without pay. Question. And it was your understanding that Ben Fields had kissed Brianna Cornett while she was on home incarceration? Mickey. Yes. Question. So you met with Ben Fields and advised him of the suspension and gave him this memorandum on the 31st of January, correct? Mickey. Yes. Question. And what did he say? How long did that conversation last? Mickey. It wasn't long. Question. Did he apologize to you? Mickey. Yeah, I think that he did. Question. We will mark this memorandum 21. Question. Anything else noteworthy about what he told you? They're all circling the wagons at this point, you guys. You've got the county attorney, you've got the circuit court judge, you've got drug court supervisor, all of these people circling the wagons, trying to minimize the damage. Which, I mean, what else would you expect them all to do? Anything else noteworthy about what he told you? Mickey. Me and him was meeting in the office, and I told him about the allegations that was made with Sabrina. Question. Right. Mickey. I think that he just sat there. Question. Just so we are clear, you are describing the conversation that happened on January 31st at 1845? Mickey. Yes, I'm pretty sure. And then I got up and say, I got to have your gun and badge. And I said, there are others. And he said, who? And I said, Brianna. And then he leaves. Question. Did he respond at all when you said Brianna? Mickey. Not that I recall. Question. You don't recall him denying having that there was an issue with Brianna? Mickey. What do you mean? Question. Well, if you said there are others, Brianna, did he respond at all the way that you said it? It sounded like he did not. But I was just trying to clarify. Mickey. Yeah. He said, what others? And I said, Brianna. I'm trying to remember. Question. I appreciate that. Did he say anything after that? Mickey. I can't recall. Question. Did you speak to Patty Stockham at any point on January 31st? Mickey. Yeah. Question. Okay. Tell me about that communication. Mickey. I had called her after I suspended Ben and told her that I had got some allegations that he had been having a relationship with some people on house arrest, and I had to suspend him without pay. Question. You told Patty that after your meeting with Ben at 1845? Mickey. Yeah. Question. Okay. And what did Patty Stockham say? Mickey. I can't really recall all the details. He can't recall nothing. How could they ever have him testify in any court cases? Are you joking me? You don't remember what he ate for breakfast that morning. Question. Did you give her names of these women on home incarceration? Mickey. I can't recall. Question. Do you recall her asking for names? Mickey. I don't recall. Question. Do you recall anything that she said? Mickey. No, not really. Question. Okay. Do you remember what her response was? Could you tell whether she was surprised or upset or anything? Mickey. Yeah, she was shocked. I told her, that I was sorry. Question. So you apologized to her? Mickey. Yeah. Question. Is that because you had recommended Ben Fields to work for her? Mickey. Yes. Question. Okay. So the next thing that I see here, that nothing happened on February 1st, according to your timeline. Do you recall talking to anybody about February 1st, about any of this? Mickey. I don't recall. Question. Okay. And then the next person that you talked to was Bert Sloan, who requested that the investigator to come to the jail about an inmate and uh, and a name blanked out. Do you know what that name would be, Mickey? No, I need the original copy to be able to see it. Question. Where's the original copy as we sit here right now, Mickey? At my office. Question. Is someone working? Could we get them to send it over real quick? Would that be easy enough, Mickey? Yeah, we can. Question. It would be nice to be able to deal with this today. Let's take a break. I don't have a whole lot more after this. A break was taken. Miss Baxter, can we just change that to the new 20 without redactions, Mr. Shaw? Or we can do 22 if you want to, Mr. Dotson. I say we add it. I don't say that we take anything out, Mr. Baxter. Okay, make it 22. Question. Okay, this is an unredacted copy. I see Brianna Cornett's name up from your 1824 meeting on January 31st. As you recalled, Mickey says yes. Question. Then we are on February 2nd now, and it looks like Bert Sloan wanted someone to come to the jail regarding inmate. Is that an and sign Brianna Cornett? Mickey, yes. Question. Do you know who the unidentified inmate is? Mickey, no. Question. Says also advised that Ben Wifes, has spoken to Lena Hensley about Sabrina Adkins' incident. Do you see that, Mickey? Yes. Question. So let's start here. Who's Lena Hensley? Question. She's an employee at the jail. Question. And Ben's wife? She's also an employee at the jail, right? Answer. Yes. Question. Okay. So I guess Bert Sloan is calling you and relaying that information to you? Mickey. No. He came over to the office. Question. Okay. So what did he say when he showed up to the office? Mickey. That whoever investigated it needed to come over and talk to Ben's wife. Question. Did you ask him? Do you know anything more about what Ben's wife told Lena Hensley beyond what is in here? Mickey. I can't recall if he said. Question. Do you know if anybody ever did go over to the jail to speak with Lena Hensley or Ben's wife? Mickey. I don't know. Question. Have you ever spoken to Lena Hensley about these allegations, about this issue with Ben Fields? Mickey. No. Question. Have you ever spoken with Ben's wife about this issue with Ben Fields? Mickey. No. Question. Did you pass this request on to anyone? Mickey. So at the time that all of this started happening, I was tore up and was having a bad episode, so my memory is fogged. I made this later just to kind of have some guidelines to go back. Question. Okay. So you did make this sometime after February 11th, do you think? Mickey. Yeah, I think so. I don't know the exact date. We didn't put it on it. Duh. Oh, why not? That's question. Would was her last name Frazier? Who is the woman that recorded this for you? Mickey. Yeah, LaShawna Frazier. Question. Do you think that she would remember when this was created? Mickey. I don't know. Question. We're going to come back to this. I want to look at another document, too, while we are doing this. Mark this 23. Question. Do you recognize this form? Answer. Yes. Question. What is this form? Mickey. It is. We sent into Kentucky Law Enforcement Council that. Just making sure that I am telling you right, okay? Question. Yeah, sure. Mickey. There is a criminal investigation and suspended without pay. Question. Okay. So is this a form that you have to submit to the Kentucky Law Enforcement Council when you put someone on suspension? Mickey. Yes. Question. Okay. Do you see under action? You have checked both boxes under criminal investigation and under administrative investigation. Do you see that? Mickey. Yes. Question. Okay. Was there any administrative investigation here? Mickey. Just taking the information that I took here, speaking with the county attorney and the Commonwealth attorney, which would have been Edison Banks back then, who had a 20-year-old in-home
All
health
right,
aide.
let's go on.
Well,
I know.
it kind of all fits together, I have left the Commonwealth attorney off my timeline, and KSP refused, and that he would get up with the AG's office, and they told me that they would investigate it. I can't remember. My timeline here is bad because I had such a bad episode. I can't remember the details. Well, if you remember in the AG's investigation with the Attorney General's documentation, it says that I think it was, if I remember correctly, I thought it was Bethany Baxter here that put in the request for the investigation. So I think that there is a conflict here between everybody in Whitesburg is saying that they contacted the Attorney General's office, is what it sounds like on this. But in the Attorney General's report, he contacted them. So I don't know. I think that's a big glaring conflict, though. Question. Okay. I guess if anyone performed an administrative investigation aside from yourself, who would that have been? Mickey. It would have just been me. Question. And as far as the administrative investigation that you conducted, is it documented on this piece of paper marked Exhibit 22? Mickey. Yeah, mostly. Yes. Question. Okay. What other documents might exist that document your investigation? Mickey. I don't have any other documents. Question. Okay. Looks like you signed this on February 1st of 22. Do you see that at the bottom? Mickey. Yes. Question. And then it was the next day on February 22nd that you decided to terminated Fields. Is that correct? I've got a document here, and this is what was produced in discovery and market 24. Question. But that is not quite descriptive as the other version that you came with today, correct? Mickey, yeah. Question, okay. So which version did Ben Fields get? Mickey, the other one. Question, oh, he did? Okay. Did anybody get this version that has been marked 24? Mr. Shaw, do you have an extra copy of that? Ms. Baxter, I don't. It was in Fields' exhibits. Mickey, I can't recall. Question. Well, let's look back at the one that had a little more detail, if we have got it in the pile. Mr. Dotson, are you talking about the short one? Miss Baxter, they're all pretty short. It is longer than Exhibit 24. Mr. Shaw, what was the number? Do you remember putting it in? Ms. Baxter, I don't know. I thought we made it a number. Mr. Shaw, we did. Mr. Dotson, what are you looking for, counselor? Mr. Shaw, number 6. Question. There you go, Mr. Stines. Okay, so you gave this letter to Ben Fields on February 2nd. Is that correct? Mickey, yes, that is what the date shows on the page. Question. Yeah. So did you do that before or after you spoke with Bert Sloan? Answer. It was after. Question. Did you consult with the Commonwealth attorney and county attorney in deciding to terminate Ben Fields? Mickey. So what I left off was February the 1st. Question. So what happened on February the 1st? Mickey. I remember that I spoke with county Commonwealth attorney. Question. Okay. Anybody else? Mickey. I think Judge Mullins and Bert Sloan at the courthouse. Question. Let's take it one by one. What did the county attorney tell you on February the 1st? Mickey. That I was going to have to terminate him and use this because we done this one first. Question. So what changed January 31st when your decision was to suspend him without pay, and February 1st, if that is when you made the decision to terminate him? Mickey. I'm not sure. I can't recall. Question. Okay. Mr. Shaw. I remember the answer. I don't know if you want me to tell you. Question. What about conversations that you had with the Commonwealth attorney on February 1st? Mickey. When I talked to the Commonwealth attorney, we talked about the AG's office investigating it, and he would get them to come in and investigate it. Question. Okay. Mickey. I can't remember the dates because I was in such a question. Okay. Anything else you remember talking to the Commonwealth attorney about? Answer. No, I don't. Question. And at that time, it would have been Edison Banks. Mickey. I believe so. Question. And then you said that you talked to Judge Mullins. What did you and Judge Mullins talk about? Mickey. I told him that a lawsuit and stuff had been filed. Question. Did he not already know that? Mickey. I don't know. Question. Okay. Well, was it your impression when you spoke to him that he was aware of that or was not aware of that prior to your conversation? Mickey. I can't recall. Question. Okay. So what all did you tell him? Mickey. I can't recall our conversation. Question. What did he tell you? Mickey. I believe that I went over and told him that Ben wouldn't be there because I had to suspend him because of the lawsuit. I can't remember a lot of details because I was sick. Question. So the conversation that you had, to the best of your recollection, you had at the courthouse, not in your office. Mickey. I can't remember seeing him at my office. Question. Okay. Do you remember how long that you spoke to Judge Mullins? Mickey. No, I can't remember. Question. Aside from that conversation that you had with Judge Mullins on February 1st of 22, have you had any other conversations with Judge Mullins about Ben Fields and these allegations about smexual misconduct? Mickey. I can't recall. Question. Okay. Do you have any documents that would help refresh your recollection? Do you and Judge Mullins or any of these other persons, you guys text? Mickey. Yeah, I can check. Yeah. Question. Okay. I will ask you to do that. In the latest specifics, I will follow up in writing. Mr. Shaw. Okay. Miss Baxter. We will make it specific to this time period. Question. Okay. Anybody else that you recall speaking to you on February 1st of 2022, aside from the Commonwealth attorney, county attorney, and Judge Mullins? Mickey. I think maybe Bert Sloan was up there. Question. Okay. You mentioned him. And you have got some notes about what Bert Sloan told you on the 2nd. What do you recall about what he told you or what you told him on the 1st? Mickey. I don't recall. Question. Okay. And then at some point on February 2nd, you handed Ben Fields his termination notice, which is the one marked Exhibit 6. Mickey. Yes. Question. Not the one marked Exhibit 24, correct? Yes. Okay. And so where did that exchange occur? Mickey. It was outside the courthouse in the parking lot of the funeral home beside the courthouse. Question. And how did you know that he was going to be there? Mickey. I just seen his truck. Question. Okay. If you hadn't bumped into him that day, would you have put it in the mail, or how would you have gotten it to him? Mickey. I would have called him and asked him to come in. Question. Okay. So you saw his truck out there and you took this letter out to him. And what did you say to him? Mickey. It was an envelope, in an envelope. I handed it to him and said, "This is your termination letter." Question. Okay. And did you say anything beyond that to him? Mickey. No, that was all that I said. Question. Did he say anything to you? Mickey. Not that I recall. Really? Question. Okay. Was that the first time that you have terminated someone from the Letcher County Sheriff's Office? Mickey. Yes. Question. Okay. So the next thing on your timeline notes jumps to February 10th. So is there anything missing that is relevant to Ben Fields and these allegations that occurred between February 3rd and February 7th when you have your notes here? Mickey. I can't recall. Question. So the next thing that you have on your timeline, at least, is on February 10th at 11 a.m. Judge Kraft contacted you and said Brianna had informed more information regarding Ben Fields. Do you see that? Mickey, yeah. Question. What was the more information? Mickey, I can't recall. He called me. Question. Did he call you at the office? Mickey, I think he called my cell phone, I believe. Question. Do you think that you would have any text messages or audio recordings or anything that would help remind you of any of these conversations from your timeline? Mickey, I can check. Question. Okay. Then there is a note about Teresa Quillen. Do you know who that is? Mickey. She is a lady that lives in Jenkins. She just called the office. Question. Did you ever figure out who this girl in Walmart was? Mickey. No. Question. Okay. Aside with that one conversation that you had with Patty on January 31st, did call her again and let her know that you were terminating Ben, or did she tell you that she was going to terminate him? Mickey. The night that I talked to her, she said that she was going to let him go. Question. Even though you had only made the decision at that point to suspend without pay. Is that correct? Mickey. Yes. I don't know the exact terms yet. Question. So since that conversation that you had with Ben Fields on February 2nd of 22, have you talked to him at any point after that date? Mickey. No. Ms. Baxter. I may be finished. Give me like 1 second to collect my thoughts. They took a break. Miss Baxter. I'm back on the record for the record's sake. I don't have any more questions today. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Mr. Jones pops in and says, I don't have any questions. Mr. Williams, I do have one or maybe a couple of questions. Can you hear me okay? This is Jason Williams. I represent Ben Fields in the litigation. Mr. Shaw says, yes. Mr. Williams, Sheriff, I tried to listen carefully today while you testified about various meetings and discussions that you have had. So I want to just limit my questions to those conversations that you had with Ben Fields after that you learned of the allegations, okay? Mickey says, okay. Question. So I understand that it sounds like at least on a couple of occasions that Ben came to your office and you had some conversation with him. And the last one being, I guess, where he was handed a termination letter. Mickey says, yes. Question. And as I understood your testimony, it sounded like you had a great difficulty recalling anything that Mr. Fields said in particular in any of those meetings. Mickey says, yes. Question. You made reference to at one point he might have said something to the effect, what others? Do you recall that testimony? Mickey says, yes. Question. Are you even sure that he said that? Mickey. at the time, I mean, I was really sick and everything going on. I'm pretty sure that is what he said to me. Question. Okay. As I heard you testify about it, that as the only words from him that you could recall at any time saying, Mickey, yes. Mr. Williams, thank you. I have no further questions. Mr. Shaw, I have one, and it is not really even a question. It is more housekeeping. This is some of the things in the personnel file. Mr. Shaw, question. Sheriff, I'm going to feed you a couple of documents. One is the Ben Fields oath. Is that in this personnel file? Mickey says yes. Are all deputies, are they sworn in? Do they have a written oath as part of their personnel file? Mickey, yes. Mr. Shaw, I would like to mark that as defense number 1. Question. I have various documents from the Kentucky Law Enforcement Cabinet. It looks like it was signed by Sheriff Danny Webb at 4 pages when Mr. Fields was first hired. And I ask that we redact out the date of birth and social security number from these records. Does that look accurate? Mickey says yes. Mr. Shaw, I'd like to attach that as defense 2. Miss Baxter, how many pages is that? Just so I'm clear. Mr. Shaw, 4 pages. Did we already get this in? We did, didn't we? Miss Baxter, uh-huh. Mr. Shaw, I'm not going to worry about that one. I've got one dated December 11th, 2018, addressed to Danny Webb concerning Mr. Fields' application. Mark that as defense 3. I think everything else we've gotten in. Ms. Baxter, just for clarification, defense 2 was the pages marked 23 and 24. Mr. Shaw, no, there were 4 pages. That should be 23, 24. Ms. Baxter, I've got them. Mr. Shaw, yeah, you have got them all. Keep going past. Go past that. And then there should be one more, the Code of Ethics. Ms. Baxter, mine were in a funky order, so these 4 are all defendant 2. Mr. Shaw, no questions. Ms. Baxter, I have no more questions. Mr. Dotson, I have nothing. Mr. Shaw, Jason, Don, Mr. Jones, yes, I have no questions. Mr. Williams, nothing further. Thank you. And then this is just the state of Kentucky reporter's certificate. So that just shows who the court reporter was. All right, y'all. What do you think, Mom? Let's get you.
Oh, changes my opinions.
What's your opinion?
Well, I can't tell who the bad guys are. Maybe all of them. But I just thought Mickey wasn't involved. I just thought that somehow he had got caught up in it. But it looks like that people had made reports to him and he had ignored them. That's what I thought.
Well, and it also looks like Judge Kraft knew information and didn't tell Mickey. The court.
Well, but you don't. What I thought about that was those people had tried talking to Mickey and everything, and when they couldn't get anything done, they'd gone to Jimmy Kraft.
I don't think that's not exactly the way that it was. The way that I understood it was that that one of the drug court workers, the Stacy guy, came forward and gave the information to Robbie Kinser and Judge Kraft. Okay. And then it looks like that boy was then retaliated against, trying to get him fired.
Oh, the Stacy boy?
Mm-hmm. And
who's trying to get him fired?
Well, I don't know. That's what it said in there. It was they asked me, or they at least mentioned it, trying to get it in there, alluded to it, or or referred to it. She asked the question, did he, I forget what it was I read now, but I remember reading it. But it looked like then Judge Kraft and Robbie Kinser had this information and they didn't take it nowhere. So Stacy has brought this forward to his boss, who I'd say, I guess, is Robbie Kinser, and Judge Kraft, who that's his court, that's his drug court. You know, all them boys work for Judge Kraft. That's his drug court. So they had this information about Ben, and Ben was the bailiff downstairs. And he also did the house arrest for Judge Kraft and everybody and Judge Mullins. And it looks like they had the information and never even told Mickey about it.
Well, but I just thought that they had the information and that they had additional information. You think they had the original information?
No, I think that they got information about that Brianna Cornett. Brianna Cornett has come forward to her drug court person and reported that Ben kissed her.
In the car.
Why was she in the car with Ben?
I don't know.
I know. That's what I'm saying. There's so much. Think about this. If Mickey had known that this stuff was going on this whole time with other people and just kept his mouth shut and never said anything about it, I mean, that's the same thing. If these other people heard this about Ben, it looks like they kept their mouth shut and didn't say nothing until the cat was out of the bag and they had to. I don't know, man. I'm so disappointed. I'm disappointed. I don't know why I'm so surprised, but I am so surprised.
Well, I'm surprised too, because I know several of those people and I sure thought better of them.
Me too. Me too. Although, I kind of got a good look at it a long time ago. But there were still several of them, people that I still looked up to, and I thought, man, they're good dudes. Man, I like them.
Well, I don't know what people can do in those situations. Sometimes I see things that I don't think is right, and I don't go reporting them because I could make a big mess and make it worse than it is. So I just sort of keep it to myself. You know what I'm saying?
I do, but that's exactly why we're in the shape we're in.
Yeah, we're in a mess. But people retaliate so bad on you.
That's right, they do. Retaliation. That's why people ain't coming forward. That's why we don't see these women coming forward. Ben got 6 months in jail. That's it. With everything else that's going on down there, nobody else is going to come forward.
Well, I hope that some of the bushes get rattled.
Well, I hope so too. That's the only way any of this is ever going to go away, and they're going to get the right people. Like, they need to get these creeps out of there. And I'm going to tell everybody that's watching that's in our county, it's our votes that put these people in office. And it's our votes that keep them in that office.
Sometimes on the state and the federal level, we don't feel too much like our votes count. But now on this level here, our votes count.
They sure do. We're the ones that keep them in those offices, and we need to be kicking their butts out. But who's gonna run against them? Well,
I think a lot of people would once they start.
I mean, I ran for judge executive, but as soon as I stuck my name in the hat, buddy, I regretted that, and I did not campaign for it. Not the first time. I think I put up a Facebook page, but that was it. After that, I was like, "What the hell am I doing? What the hell? No more. I ain't doing it."
Well,
and I didn't win. I didn't win. Thank
What'd you get?
God.
You got 3 votes?
No, I got as many votes as everybody else that put their name in the hat. I think several of us got like 150 to 200 votes, and then whoever it was that won ran away with it. Oh, it was Judge Wright. Judge Wright, and he's a criminal court judge. He was playing on that judge big time. But everybody down there in Whitesburg wanted him to win. All them Democrats down there, buddy, they wanted him to win. But it shocked the crap out of me that the one that's what's his name down there, the one that's our judge executive now, Terry Adams.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that he won.
Well, he's a nice man.
Well, I know, but there's a lot of people that do not like him as our judge. And I figured he'd be voted out, but he wasn't. He beat Judge Wright for it. So,
well, that wasn't who was before him.
Hmm.
I forget who that man was.
Oh, it was Jim Ward that was before him, buddy. I liked Jim Ward.
I did too.
And I didn't realize how good of a judge executive Jim Ward was until after he was done gone. He wasn't giving the sheriff's department all the county's money. And Terry Adams just keeps giving them more money and more money and more money. And I mean, you know, the sheriff's department is a self-funded department. Like, look at all the forfeiture. Look at all the stuff that goes through there. There's lots of ways that they could be running that department. It's a budgeting thing. And they've not had that department budgeted well.
Well, I'm going to bed. What do y'all do?
Me too. All right.
Bye, y'all.
We will see you all in the morning. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We got us a new member. Be Frank. Thank you, honey. Thank you. All right. Y'all have a good night. It's late. We're going to bed.
Well, that was a lot of reading. I was glad I watched it.
Good. Well, we've got Ben Fields' deposition and Sabrina Adkins. So that is going to be very interesting. All right, y'all. Good night. Peace out, Girl Scout. See you later.